Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu Daily. Now, two things I want to talk about today that are close to my heart. First of all, I want to continue talking about Todd Philips' next villain movie and who that might be and the consequences of that for another actor within the DC Extended Universe. And I also want to talk about the return of Dick Grayson to the DCEU after Flashpoint, because we know that Zack Snyder stupidly killed off Dick Grayson off screen, and you know I'm a fan of the Snyderverse, and if me saying that Zack was stupid for killing him off makes you want to unsubscribe, there's nothing I can do. I won't beg. I'll allow you to do what you want to do. Obviously, you and I wasn't meant to be, and that's what unfollowing someone's all about. I can't beg you to stay with me. You have to say to yourself, I like this guy or I don't like this guy. Anyway, let's start today's DCEU Daily. So, I'm hearing on the grapevine that Todd Philips' next villain story will be Harley Quinn, and he's looking to cast a brand new female actor. When I say the word actor, I mean it as any pronoun or any gender. So when I say actor, that's what I mean. I don't mean actor as in masculine, so you're going to all have to get used to how I refer to that. But anyway, yes, the rumour is that Harley Quinn will be the next villain in Todd Philips' villain franchise. What do I think about this? I think this is true. I think he will go with Harley Quinn. I think this absolutely makes sense, because by using Harley Quinn, you can also use Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in this movie. Now, I don't know if they'll do this kind of insane love story between Harley Quinn and the Joker. You know, maybe Harley Quinn kills Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in this movie. Who knows? But it would be a very interesting thing to do, and there's so many interesting things you can do, and it being Todd Philips would be brilliant. And if he could bring Hilda, the lady who did the music in the first film, and I can't pronounce her surname, so I'm not going to bother, but if he could bring her back for the sequel as well, that would be really, really awesome. But yeah, I think we're looking at Harley Quinn being kind of this sequel to this Joker movie. And so it'll be very interesting what he'll do there, if he'll cast a known or an unknown, seeing that Joaquin Phoenix played Arthur Fleck, Todd's Joker. Who will play Todd's Harley Quinn? You would imagine he may go to as someone specific that he really respects within the industry, and I don't know if Joaquin and Todd Philips had worked together before. I don't think they had, but he kind of handpicked him, so that's very, very interesting to me. How the hell do you get Joaquin Phoenix for a DC movie? Well, you get someone like Todd to approach him with a great script and a great vision for a movie. So I would absolutely love to see someone who's kind of world-renowned, maybe even a foreign actress. That would be an interesting take as well. And so yeah, I think that's where we're going with it. We're going with Harley Quinn, and to have Arthur Fleck with Harley Quinn in the second movie would be very, very exciting. Now, from what we're hearing is this movie doesn't shoot till next year. My sources are saying actually this movie will shoot near the fall or autumn, as we say in Europe, so maybe from about September onwards we could be shooting this movie. But the point is, they've only completed the first draft. We know no one in the industry goes with the first draft. There'll be at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 drafts before they're ready to shoot. But you know, there's a long year ahead, so you know that film is now in development. It's very exciting. So as I said yesterday, when people say we don't need a Joker sequel, you need this Joker sequel, because we're looking at Harley Quinn, the continuation of Arthur Fleck's story within the development of this Harley Quinn in, you know, Todd Philips' villainous kind of franchise, which I think's very, very exciting as well. So yes, and now let's kind of flesh out this situation, because a lot of people are going to kind of start getting upset. You know, Margot Robbie is the best Harley Quinn, blah blah blah. I thought in the first Suicide Squad film, Margot was fantastic and she interested me as the character. Then she became very political, Margot, over the character and overprotective in a political sense with this character, and I didn't like it. I did not like, let's not make no mistake about this. WB were not happy with Birds of Prey, and nor were most of the audience. And that sits with the responsibility for that lays with at Margot Robbie's door. She's the one who brought in the director for her own reasons, for representation and inclusive reasons, without actually looking at the director herself. Is she qualified? Can she do action? Can she do emotion? Can she marry these things in? And ultimately, she couldn't. And so, Birds of Prey isn't the worst movie you ever see in the comic book genre, but, Kathy Yan was sadly lacking in terms of action, and they had to bring in the guy from John Wick. He wasn't able to really give the film what it needed in such a little time. It wasn't his fault. And it was a big shame, and you kind of wonder, don't you, why not just bring the John Wick director in from the beginning to do an awesome, badass, Birds of Prey movie? Oh no, he's a man. Men can't direct women. This is where extreme left Hollywood is now. So that's a mess. That's down to Margot Robbie. And also, they've watered down Margot Robbie, or Margot Robbie's watered herself down as Harley Quinn since the first Suicide Squad movie. So I think this has been a problem as well. So I think these are the problems, and I don't think there's a strong relationship between the studio and Margot Robbie as a creative, but as an actor, of course, she will remain the central Harley Quinn. But we're talking about Todd Philips' Harley Quinn. I mean, I think there was a time when they were talking about Joker, and I said, why not bring Margot in to play another Elseworld version of Harley Quinn, and that would be interesting. And maybe Todd may decide to do it, but I doubt it. And so I think they're looking at another actress. So yeah, I think this makes sense to do this. Harley Quinn being the next character. I think that's very, very interesting to me. We'll see how this develops, and we see how we get along with this, but I think it's very exciting that Todd's doing this next movie, and this franchise continues. It's another DC universe. What are we going to call this? Earth 3 at the moment. Don't forget, we've only got 2 official Earths in the DC Extended Universe right now. Now, after Flashpoint, that will expand a great deal. So we have to look at the Joker Earth as Earth 3, unless it's the same Earth as Matt Reeves, the Batman, which of course is very, very unlikely. And if I go on, I'll spoil the whole movie for you, because as you know, I have seen the Batman, and so I would know if that's true or not, and I'm not willing to divulge that information. Dick Grayson has been sadly lacking in DC live action over the years. Of course, we had Dick Grayson in the original 1960s series, and he was great, played by Burt Wood wonderfully, and I looked up to that version of Dick Grayson as a child. And we've of course seen him in Titans as well. But in terms of the movies, he was obviously in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Again, Chris O'Donnell played a great version of that character. I actually forgot about that version of the character. But in the DCEU, we've had no Dick Grayson. In fact, Zack Snyder stupidly killed him off screen. The whole idea is, instead of Jason Todd being killed by the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker killed Dick Grayson off screen. You can't do things like that off screen. Now, I'm a fan of Snyder's. I'm a fan of the Snyderverse, and it doesn't sound like I am, but I am. But I have to call Zack out when I don't agree with something he's done. You know, A Death in the Family is a huge story within graphic novel legacy, and legend. And to do that off screen is, sorry, I'm going to say this, is pathetic. That's something that needed to happen within a Batman movie, but then you didn't have a Batman movie, did you? You had a Batman and a Superman movie, but you could have actually done it in that movie. You could have done it with it in David Ayer's Suicide Squad movie if you really were passionate about killing off Dick Grayson. But then we have to look at the element of it. Not only did we not see this happen, which is ridiculous, it's such a huge thing. You've got to introduce Dick Grayson, you've got to develop his character. Then if you want to do it, kill him off. But even then, it's a bad move. The only reason Jason Todd was killed off in the first place in the comics is because mostly the fans didn't like Jason Todd, so that's why it happened. Now, it still affected people. It was still a brutal murder by the Joker, what the Joker inflicted on Jason Todd. But then to take the most popular version of Robin and say, yeah, we're going to kill you off screen. I'm sorry, this is the audience's issues with Zack Snyder. So when we look at the Snyderverse being criticised, this is something that should never happen. I mean, this did trigger me when I found out this was Dick Grayson, and obviously some of the Snyderverse fans who are very hardcore will defend anything that Zack does, even if it's something that's not particularly a well-advised good idea. And for me, none of it made sense. Killing him off screen, killing off Dick Grayson, for me, it was a dumb idea, and it would have been great to have a Dick Grayson with Ben Affleck. That would have made his Batman even better than it already was. But good news, everyone. After Flashpoint, Dick Grayson is entering the DC Extended Universe. Either we'll see him at the end of Flashpoint, or the first point of entry will be the Batgirl movie starring Leslie Grace. So that's very exciting. We've seen little hints and sneaks of the footage of that film. We haven't seen the trailer yet, of course, but the on location and on the set shooting, we saw a mural of Keaton's Batman with a Dick Grayson. So that's very good news that, you know, Walter Hamada, you know, say what you want about Walter Hamada if you don't like him, but he has always had a plan, and part of that plan is to, you know, correct the mistakes that Snyder made. And this was the problem with Snyder, because Snyder can only be Snyder. He came in to deconstruct, to tell his own story, gritty, auteur story. It wasn't in his armory to build up a universe to compete with the MCU. He doesn't care about that, and that's the problem with bringing in an auteur to run your universe instead of a producer and someone who's smart like Walter Hamada or Kevin Feige. And that's the difference here. I think that maybe James Gunn can work along with a producer actually and give that producer some good ideas as well. He's a builder, but he's a logical builder, and I think in terms of logic, I don't think Snyder is a logical builder of a universe. He's got his ideas, they're deconstructive, and that's okay. The man's a genius himself, but in terms of building something that DC fans can be proud of, that's a bit difficult when you're deconstructing things with hot takes and triggering your target audience all the time. So those mistakes are being rectified now. I know a lot of you Snyder fans will feel that I'm betraying Zack for saying these things. I'm just speaking my truth. I can enjoy Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman and the Snyder Cut, but I can still call out Zack when I feel he's made a mistake. And I think killing off Dick Grayson firstly off screen was ridiculous, and killing off Dick Grayson in the first place was even more ridiculous. So I'm very, very excited that Walter Hamada and the DCEU are reintroducing Dick Grayson in Batgirl, and this should be very exciting news for any Batman fan. Of course, Tim Burton also rejected the opportunity to bring Dick Grayson into the first Batman movie. He didn't want it, he just wanted to tell Batman's story. Now, I don't think that's dumb, because at least he didn't decide to kill the character off. That was his decision. He wanted to focus on one hero at a time, and that made absolute sense. But we're getting Dick Grayson back, and we're hearing lots of rumours about who they're going to cast, but I'm just excited. And this is why people are so excited for Batgirl. Batgirl's a great character in her own right. It's going to be her movie, and we understand that. But introducing, you know, Michael Keaton's Batman's Dick Grayson into this movie is going to be very exciting for hardcore Dick Grayson fans, you know, and ultimately he may become Nightwing as well. So I think the DCEU is in great hands, very exciting hands, and the things like bringing back Dick Grayson are very, very interesting concepts, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, copy, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection, and I'll see you again tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. Until then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.